Right now, your brain is predicting your next move before you even make it. That's not a metaphor, it's a literal split-second computation happening inside your skull thousands of times a day. And it's the exact reason you can't make yourself laugh by tickling your own feet. Try it right now if you want. Go ahead, tickle your palm. Feel that? Nothing, but if a friend did the exact same thing, you'd probably be squirming in 2 seconds. Why does the same touch feel completely different depending on who's doing it? Here's the strange part. Tickling seems so simple. It's just touch, right? Skin on skin. But your brain treats self-touch and other touch like they're two completely different languages. One barely registers. The other can send you into fits of laughter you can't control. So what's actually going on in there? Stick with me, because the answer isn't just cute trivia, it's a window into how your brain protects you, predicts you, and even shapes how connected you feel to other people. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a tickle fight the same way again. Let's start with the obvious question. If tickling is just a physical sensation, why does the source matter so much? Think about it this way. You bump into your own arm on the couch all the time. You don't jump, you don't flinch, your brain barely notices. But if someone unexpectedly taps you on the shoulder from behind, different story. Your heart jumps a little, your attention snaps instantly. That's because your brain isn't just processing touch. It's constantly asking one question in the background: did I cause this, or did something else? This matters more than you'd think. Imagine if your brain treated every touch as equally surprising. Every time your shirt brushed your skin, every time your hair moved, every time you scratched an itch, your nervous system would be firing alarm bells nonstop. You'd be exhausted before lunch. So your brain does something clever. It filters out the sensations it expects so it can stay alert for the ones it doesn't. And that filtering system is the exact same one responsible for why you can't tickle yourself. We'll get into exactly how that filter works in a moment. But first, let's talk about what tickling even is, because it's weirder than you think. Here's something most people don't realize. There are actually two types of tickling, and they're not the same thing at all. The first is called nismesis. That's the light, feathery kind, like a bug crawling on your arm. It creates a mild itch-like feeling, and you can sometimes trigger this one yourself. The second is gargalesis. This is the deep, intense kind, the ribs, the underarms, the sides of your stomach. This is the kind that makes you laugh uncontrollably, gasp for air, and sometimes even beg the person to stop while you're still laughing. Here's the surprising part. Gargalesis, the intense kind, almost never works on yourself. No matter how hard you press your own ribs, no matter how fast you try to move your own fingers, it just doesn't land the same way. Scientists have wondered about this for a long time. Some early thinkers guessed it was about surprise. Others thought it was about trust, or vulnerability, or even social bonding. But it took brain imaging research to actually show us what's happening in real time, and what they found was fascinating. Your brain has a built-in forecasting system. Before you move your hand, a part of your brain called the cerebellum, think of it as your brain's motion planning center, sends out a signal predicting exactly what sensation that movement is about to create. So when you go to tickle your own palm, your cerebellum has already calculated the pressure, the timing, the direction, all of it, milliseconds in advance. By the time your fingers actually touch your skin, your brain already knows what's coming. It essentially says, "Yup, that's what I expected," and quietly turns down the volume on the sensation. Researchers have used brain scanning to actually watch this happen. When people tickle themselves, the brain regions responsible for processing touch and emotional response showed noticeably less activity compared to when someone else did the exact same motion. Same touch, same pressure, same spot, wildly different brain response. This is sometimes called sensory attenuation, your brain literally dampening a sensation it can predict. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't just about tickling. This same prediction system is why you can't startle yourself by clapping your own hands the way someone else clapping loudly behind you would. It's why you don't flinch when you scratch your own neck, but you might flinch if a stranger reaches toward it. Your brain is running a constant background check, self-generated or externally generated. And when the answer is externally generated, your brain treats it as new information. Unpredictable, potentially important. Worth paying attention to, and in the case of tickling, worth reacting to strongly. Did you know some researchers have even built machines to test this? In certain studies, people were tickled using a robotic device they controlled themselves through a lever, with a slight time delay added between their action and the resulting touch. As that delay increased, the tickle sensation became more intense because the brain could no longer perfectly predict when the touch would land. That tiny gap in prediction was enough to make it feel more like someone else was doing it. Let that sink in for a second. Just adding a delay was enough to trick the brain's prediction system. You might be thinking, okay, that's a fun fact, but why does it matter beyond party trivia? Here's the deeper layer. This prediction system isn't just about tickling. It's one of the ways your brain tells the difference between you and not you, between your own actions and outside events. That distinction is actually a big deal in psychology, because when this internal prediction system doesn't work the way it's supposed to, it can affect how people experience their sense of self and their surroundings. Researchers studying certain mental health conditions have looked closely at disruptions in this self-monitoring system, since it may play a role in how some people experience unusual bodily sensations or a distorted sense of control over their own actions. This is a complex area still being researched, and if you or someone you know is dealing with symptoms like this, it's always best to speak with a licensed mental health professional rather than self-diagnose. On a lighter note, this same system might explain why tickling is often tied to bonding. Because it only works when someone else does it, tickling naturally requires trust and closeness. Think about who you'd actually let tickle you. Probably not a stranger. Probably someone you feel safe and comfortable around, a close friend, a sibling, a partner, a parent with a child. That vulnerability might be part of why tickling shows up so often in play and bonding across cultures, and even in some animals like rats and chimpanzees who show tickle-like responses during social play. So this isn't just a quirky brain glitch. It's a small daily reminder of how your brain draws the line between self and other, and how that line shapes connection. So let's circle back to that moment at the very start, when you tried tickling your own palm and felt basically nothing. Now you know why. Your brain predicted the touch before it happened and quietly muted the response. It wasn't a lack of sensitivity. It was your brain being incredibly efficient, filtering out the predictable so it can stay sharp for the unpredictable. It's a small example of something much bigger. Your brain isn't just reacting to the world moment by moment. It's constantly forecasting, comparing, and adjusting faster than you'll ever consciously notice. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried tickling yourself and been genuinely confused why it didn't work? I'd love to hear your experience with this. If this kind of wait, why does my brain do that content is your thing, there's a lot more where this came from. Consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. And hit like if this changed the way you think about something as simple as a tickle. Because here's the truth. The most fascinating mysteries aren't always out in space or buried in ancient history. Sometimes they're happening right under your skin every single day in ways you never even think to question. Next time, we're diving into another everyday brain glitch, why you can suddenly forget why you walked into a room the second you crossed a doorway. Trust me, the answer is just as strange as this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.